Here I am going to explain to you, Captain Steve, why your theory about the pilots switching off the fuel pumps for both engines 3 and 4 seconds after the plane lifts off the ground doesn't make sense. It is a big cover-up, and you ought to admit you made a big mistake, because I'm going to prove you why right now. And I've reduced the speed on that video to half speed to be able to show you exactly what's happening. Let's roll. These are the timestamps that came from the report, the provisory report, preliminary. Right here, it's going to take off at 39 seconds. Read here. They reach 155 knots. And then the next call at 38 seconds, 39 seconds, lift off. Wow. Goes to air mode. 41 seconds. The aircraft started it reached engine 1 fuel control cut off at 44 and 45. N2 start decreasing, but the aircraft continues to rise. How the hell do you explain this? It's continuing to rise. 51, 52, 53 seconds. Then it levels off and it starts to go down. FADET trigger auto start. APU feels the temperature. Engine 2 fuel control back to engine 1, engine 2 relit. EGT increase. Core starts, but it's too late. The aircraft is coming down. It's gliding down. They don't have enough. The power is not coming back. They're going down. Distress call. Mayday, mayday, mayday. They're sinking. They're sinking. They're stalling. Impact. EAFR recording stops. Explosion. 260 people died right there. And you, Captain Steve, and other YouTuber pilots, I don't know where you get your information, because there's a lot of reasons this could have happened, but it is impossible that the aircraft continued to climb after the engines were switched off, which happened 3 and 4 seconds after the wheels came off the ground. Can you explain that one? I'm really mad, because during all that time, aircraft are flying and there is an electrical fault that caused this. The reason I can say that with assurance is because the ram air turbine came out. I'll show you the timestamp. Let me put this on pause and we're going to talk seriously. Okay, this is the timeline. This is 08 hours, 08 minute, 39 second. There are events preceding that. I can show them to you. The aircraft started rolling at 07:37. Aircraft crossed the takeoff decision speed V1 and achieved 153 knots, which is what you saw in the video. At 08:35, the aircraft achieved VR speed, which is the rotation speed, as you know, Captain Steve. And then at 39 seconds, the aircraft air ground sensors transition to air mode. That's an aircraft takeoff, the weight off wheel. That's recorded by the flight data recorder. And after that, at 42 seconds, 3 seconds after, the aircraft achieved the maximum recorded airspeed of 180 knots. 4 seconds after wheels come off the ground, at 43 seconds, engine 1 fuel cutoff switch transition from run to cutoff. No, this could be caused by electrical anomalies. This is from everything that's coming out now. The information we have, it happened before with the same type of aircraft, with other companies, and there is an investigation that needs to be made. But anyway, let's keep on going. 5 seconds after. So at 4 seconds, engine 1 goes out. 5 seconds, engine 2 fuel cutoff switch transition from run to cutoff. Again, this is what is perceived by the computer, because if you have an electrical fault that triggers the ram air turbine to be ejected, to be launched from inside the fuselage to be deployed, that's the word I'm looking for, okay? This takes some time for the ram air turbine to engage and provide hydraulic and electrical. Next step. Here we have at 8 seconds, so at 4 and 5, both engines went off. 8 seconds after taking off, the ram air turbine hydraulic pump began supplying hydraulic power. Could take 4 seconds after deployment. Let me explain to you one thing that you should know, and you might know and not admit, is that the ram air turbine is deployed under 2 conditions. Either one can trigger the ram air turbine to be extracted. Number 1 could be total failure, no more hydraulics, to allow flying the aircraft when both engines are out. If you're at high altitude, doesn't matter if it takes 4 seconds, the hydraulic will be maintained by this air-driven turbine. Now, the other cause that can trigger the ram air turbine to be deployed is an electrical fault. Now, follow my reasoning. These are hypotheses, but they will need to be simulated, because the reality is that aircraft took off, climbed for 14 seconds, and you're saying that after 4 seconds, the engines have been turned off. So that does not make sense. And I'll prove you something else. At 08:52, 13 seconds after takeoff, and 9 seconds after the engine has been switched off, engine 1 fuel cutoff switch transition from cutoff to run. Turbine restart procedure. This is, as you know, Captain Steve, is when an aircraft loses an engine, they want to restart it in flight. It was in the on position. You have to pull on it, toggle it down, and bring it back to the on position. This is described by the procedures. Everybody knows that. Even you, Captain Steve. And this is what they did. Pilot action to restart the engine. They did that at 13 seconds after takeoff and 17 seconds after takeoff. Meaning we saw the airplane rise for what we can say approximately 13 to 14 seconds. That means they were extremely quick to do this procedure when they realized they could no longer climb. Now, let's think about something else. If the ram air turbine was deployed at the same time that the engine 1 and 2 were switched off, or were perceived to be switched off by the computer, then it is possible that at the same moment, this is what caused an electrical signal to the computer that for a fraction of a second, they had no more electricity. Now, this corresponds to the testimony of the survivor, who said after takeoff, lights started flickering. They went from green to red. He explained something on his hospital bed. This is what they were seeing in the cockpit. Now, the big one, Captain Steve, why the hell we don't have yet the cockpit voice recorders. Because if we had these, we would be able to overlay on the same timeline that you saw in the video there, where we could say, okay, they reach V1, they reach V2, and they're taking off. And they would, perhaps we would hear them say positive rate, and then 4 seconds after, they would get error messages screaming in the cockpit. Why the hell they don't release that? Because then, if they have the problem for the passengers, and 4 seconds after something triggers the ram air turbine, don't you think there's some alarms going on in the cockpit? Of course there are. So this is why they're not releasing it, because this would prove beyond any doubt that there were events going on and that the pilots did not cause it, because one guy's flying the aircraft. You know that, Captain Steve. In this case, the co-pilot was flying the aircraft and Captain was assisting. Now what happened? Let's say at 4 seconds, it became like a Christmas tree in there. They had alarms everywhere. We would hear it. But then, what do you think they would have done? He would have monitored the situation, and as soon as they felt that the propulsion, the thrust was going, what do you think he did? He was ready. He was extremely competent and fast in his reaction to toggle down, toggle up, to reinitiate one turbine. Now, smart ass are going to say, oh, why did he wait 4 seconds to relight the second one? Because 13 seconds after he turned one on, and engine 2 came back 17 seconds. So that's 4 seconds apart. Why did he wait 4 seconds? Well, he did something in between. The APU inlet door began opening in between the two. And you know what? If you don't know for sure what's happening, maybe you're going to try to restart one turbine and see the result, which they did, because after that, you remember, we don't have it here. We had it in the video, but the APU, the exhaust gas temperature, the EGT started to record that the turbines indeed had been restarted. Okay, we saw the message. You want to see it again? Let's look at it full speed. I'm going to put this on pause. We're going to look at it once again, full speed. So here we go. Concentrate on these timestamps. At 39, the aircraft you'll have the message, wheels are off the ground. V1, VR, liftoff. Engine 1, engine 2, perceived by the computer that fuel was cut off, but it continues to rise. How the hell is that possible, Captain Steve? Now it's sinking. The trigger, engine 2, fuel control, engine 1 and 2 relit, EGT increases. That's what I was telling you. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. They continue to glide down, and they stall, and they impact, and the aircraft explodes, and 260 human beings just died. And you're going to tell me you're going to let them off on the basis that they made a mistake or committed suicide after seeing this? I rest my case. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Be vigilant. What they should do right now is ground the aircraft until they do simulations to reproduce what happened with this reality that you saw. Only simulation to reproduce exactly what happened, to create a short somewhere that would trigger the flight data recorder to label engine switched off. That is the reality, but the aircraft continued to rise. I'm repeating myself. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.